Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon and today I'm bringing you a haul that should not exist. Yeah. So I don't know what sound that was, but nonetheless. I've been on a book buying ban, and if you did not know, it is meant to last the first 6 months of the year, and I can break this book buying ban if I reach 20 points on my TBR game, which I have not done yet. So yeah, I'm meant to be on a book buying ban, and I have not reached 20 points on my game, my TBR game. So this haul should not exist, but it does, and we're just gonna go with it. And I actually have quite a lot of books to show you, which is a little disheartening considering I'm meant to be on a book buying ban, but there's reasons, and I will tell you the reasons as we get into this video. So without further ado, let's get into me hauling some books that I should not have bought. The first couple of books I have here, the only reason that I purchased these was because I went to the event Granite Noir in Aberdeen, and this is a crime sort of grim writing event, I would say. Me and my friend Seffi went to this event and we got to see the authors talk in person, which was great because it's been so long since you've been able to go to events like this. And we got some books signed, obviously, because we were there and the authors were signing their books. So I wasn't passing up the opportunity to have a signed book by these authors. And after hearing most of these authors talk, I just wanted their book anyway. So yeah, we're going to start with The Spirit Engineer by AJ West. And I will put all of the Granite Noir books I got on this little starting clip, just because I feel like the majority of these I got from Granite Noir, and I just want to appreciate how beautiful this cover is because it is absolutely stunning. So this book takes place just after the sinking of the Titanic, when high society becomes obsessed with religion, spiritualism, and all things unknown. We follow the character William as he starts to hear voices, and I think we follow him as he goes through some inner turmoil between his science brain and his spiritual brain. And hearing AJ West talk about this character and how he wrote him, I am so excited to dive into this because I believe William is not necessarily unlikable, but he's not likable either, and he's meant to make you react. And in one of the questions that he got asked, AJ West says that one of his reviewers said they threw their Kindle across the room after reading this book. So I think the mark of a good book is an emotional response. If of course it's not anger or frustration. I believe that a good book will make you feel something so vibrant, and I think that I'm going to get along well with this because I am excited to see William grow and become a character that I've heard about but have not read yet. So I'm so excited to dive into this, and there will be a vlog for it soon. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, and hopefully this content will come to you soon enough. The next book I have here is She and I by Hannah King, and again, I was so excited when I heard the author talk about this book. In this book, we follow Jude and Keely, and they're best friends. They share everything and they're inseparable. But one day they wake up and Keely's boyfriend is dead, is stabbed. And the next thing they share is the story they're going to tell police. And I need to read this. I am so excited to find out what actually happened to Keely's boyfriend and why he ended up murdered, but also who murdered him. And when we were speaking to the author Hannah King, we decided that we were Jude and Keely, me and Seffi, so we actually got our individual books signed to one of the characters, and I ended up getting mine signed to Keely. So we are buddy reading this in April, and one of us is going to get the killer. So one of us is going to have the book dedicated to the killer, which I think is pretty cool. And it'll be fun to see whose book's dedicated to the killer. But yeah, like we have a book about best friends that are signed to the best friends. So that's pretty cool. And I cannot wait to buddy read this with Sephi. And if you wonder who Sephi is, they're always linked down below. They are wonderful, and you should go subscribe to their channel, and we'll be buddy reading this, so look forward to some thoughts on this one as well. Next we have How to Kill Your Best Friend by Alexi Elliott, and this book, it does sound extremely interesting. In this book we follow a group of 3 friends, Lisa, Bronwyn, and I believe Georgie, and Lisa ends up dead in the war, drowned, but this is like in a luxury island that her husband owns. But the thing is Lisa's an open swimmer. She's like a great, brilliant swimmer. So how does a brilliant swimmer end up drowning? It makes no sense. So I believe we follow this story unfold on this luxury island between all this friend group, and I am so ready to read this. And also it has little tidbits like the thing on the back of this book. It has methods like peppered throughout of this book, and I'm going to read you the method on the back because I just think that it's such a brilliant, like, it's a gimmick, but I think it's such a brilliant gimmick. If done well, it will be very entertaining. Method 1, accident. Yes, but what kind of accident? It's so easy in the movies. A pleasant walk along a cliff top, then bam, a sudden shove. In real life, there's no handably accessible cliff, and if there was, nobody in their right mind would walk right at the edge of it. And there's always the chance that someone would see you. A dog walker, probably. There's always a bloody dog walker around. It's just like they say, it's not the murder that's the problem, it's getting away with it. No, wait, the murder is the problem too. So yeah, like this sounds really good, and I cannot wait to pick this up. And also, there's a vlog coming. I'm just going to say that about all of these books because they're all ones I'm really excited for, and I cannot wait to get to them. So I do plan on having content for all these books. So if you're interested in that, then stick around. Next we have The Twins by L.V. Matthews, and in this we follow twins, obviously, duh. In this we follow Margot and Cara, and Margot is the nanny for an upper class couple, and Cara is a dancer on the cusp of greatness. But their childhood haunts them, and when incidents arise in the future or present, they are pitted against each other in a case for survival, I guess. This sounds so interesting, and I really enjoyed when the author talked about how she wanted to write these characters, because she wanted them to be so distinct, because even though they're twins, she wanted them all to have their personal voice and be quite different from each other. So I'm quite intrigued at how her thought process translates onto page, and I really hope that these characters are dynamic and like very 3D, vibrant, in your face, because that's the kind of vibe I got when the author was talking about these characters, and I'm really excited to read this. Also, there was a little reading of a part at the event, and it just made me want to pick this up so bad. And I want to pick all these books up so bad, but the problem is I have a TBR game, so trying to fit them onto that is kind of hard. And also I'm in a slump, so adding books to the 4 books I already read for my TBR game is not ideal. So I will be getting to this also. Next we have My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyenikin Braithwaite. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong. I suck at name pronunciation, but I do try my best. I have actually already read this. I listened to this on audio and absolutely devoured it when it first came out. But hearing the author talk and hearing everything that the panelists had to say, I want to go into this again with like a fresh sort of renewed interest, and I want to read it physically because I have it physically now, and I feel like I'll get more from the story this time around. I feel audiobooks for me are very passive. I tend to only listen to certain genres on audio because I tend to forget audiobooks quicker than when I read them physically. So the majority of my reading I do is either Kindle or physical book, because audiobooks don't necessarily stick with me, or like I find it hard to find one that I really enjoy. I did enjoy this audiobook, but I do feel like I read it quite a while ago. I can't remember what year this was taken out. Let me see, 2018. Yeah, so I read this in 2018, so it's been a while, and I'm going in with renewed interest. In this book, we follow Cordy and her sister Aola, and they are completely different. Cordy is a nurse and she just lives her life as the days come, whereas Aola has now dispatched her third boyfriend. And when I say dispatched, I mean she's like no longer alive, like unalived her boyfriends, and she always calls her sister Cordy to come help clean up her messes. This changes things when her sister Aola sets sights on Cordy's colleague and a doctor where she works, and she's worried that her sister is going to kill him, and this puts like both sisters in such a hard situation, obviously because one's a murderer and one cleans up after her. But when the potential victim could be one that you love, essentially, then things get complicated. And I really enjoyed this. By the way, I'm really sorry if the lighting changes. Like, it's a little bit later in the day that I'm filming, so the lighting might vary, but we try, we go with it. I have totally renewed interest in this after hearing the author talk. I think that going into this now is going to feel different. This was originally written as a novella, a short story, and then it was turned into novel length. And like, I just feel like I'm going to enjoy this so much more as a physical read, and also with the now extra pieces I have from the author etched into my brain, I might see some Easter eggs throughout this, which I'm so excited for. And the final book I have here is How to Survive Everything by Ewan Morrison. And this was quite an interesting one when I heard the author talk. I think that I was interested in the story simply because it takes place from the perspective of a 15-year-old girl when her dad is a prepper. He is prepping for the end of the world, and one day he kidnaps his two kids and takes them to like a doomsday plot where they prepare for the end of the world. And he tells his kids it's because of a deadly virus, a pandemic is happening, and his kids have no idea if this is true or if it's their dad running into madness. But we get this all from the perspective of a 15-year-old girl, which I find an interesting choice. I expected it to be from the dad's perspective, but I believe that it's going to be so much more interesting with the fact that it's from the 15-year-old girl's perspective and his child. And also there was a reading, and there's tidbits throughout this, that her dad's wrote like how to survive the apocalypse kind of guidelines, and you get his sort of ramblings throughout. And yeah, like, it sounds really interesting. I'm really excited to try this. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it upon reading it, but it intrigued me enough to buy it. And it was really good because in this panel, me and Seffi decided that one of us would get this book and the other one would get, oh no, it's the author of The Death at the Museum, and it's like a series, and I think Death at Museum might be the first one. I'll pop the picture here, and I got this one, Seffi got that one, and we both got them dedicated to like both of us. So here we go. And the plan is I will read this and annotate it, and then Seffi will read my annotated version, and Seffi will read this one here and annotate it, and I will read their annotated version. So that will be happening, and that just makes it all the more exciting, really, because not only will I get a new story from an author I've heard speak, but I will also be getting some of my best friend's thoughts as I read. So I'm very happy about that. Next, I'm going to jump into the pre-orders that I have. So I'm not counting these as breaking the book buy and ban because pre-orders don't count. They were pre-ordered before the start of the year. And the first one I have here is Dahlia Green Doesn't Care, and this is by Ashley Heron Blake. In this, we follow Dahlia, and she is going to her sister's wedding to be the photographer. She doesn't want to go back to Bright Falls because it's shit. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to breeze in, breeze out, get her job done, congratulate her sister, and fuck off. Which is fine, you know, showing up, showing face, photographing the wedding. That sounds great. But then she re-meets Claire Sutherland, her sister's stuck-up best friend, and they get thrown together in a lot of wedding situations, and they maybe realise that they've judged each other far too quickly, and they might have more in common than what they originally realised. This sounds like a romantic comedy that I need in my life. It's sapphic, it sounds fun, it sounds like big dramatic plot lines. It feels like a recipe for a good book for me. Also, the sequel was announced that it was coming out this year too, so I'm probably gonna pre-order that in my next pre-order if I enjoy this, and I will be getting to this soon. Next, we have House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. I obviously pre-ordered this. This was my most anticipated book for 2022, and I'm away to call myself out here. When this arrived, I was so excited, but I was in the biggest slump. I am still reading this. I'm like 400 pages in. I am enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the characters. But I felt like I had to take a break because this is a chunker of a book, and if I kept forcing myself to read, not just this book, any book in general, I was in a slump so bad that I was actually forcing myself to pick up anything that I was reading. And if I kept forcing myself to pick this up, I wasn't going to enjoy it as much as I should be, because this should be amazing for me. And I think that I put it off just so that I could focus on easier books, shorter books, to have that kind of achievement of completing something and like actually getting back into reading again. So I will have a vlog out for this. It will be extremely late, and I will like obviously think I'm going to enjoy it. 400 pages in, still loving everything, but yeah, like my slump hit at the worst time possible, so this will be coming soon. It's just life got in the way, and apparently so did my reading brain. But yeah, I will be reading this again soon. The next book I have here is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I am really excited for this. I feel like I've said excited about 100,000,000 times, but you get the gist. These are all books that I either bought at events or pre-ordered, so far. So obviously it's going to be ones that I am really ready for. I bought this because I've actually read Lucy Foley and enjoyed their work. Also, it's a literally dead book called Pix, so it seemed reasonable to pre-order this. In this book, we follow Jess, who is down and out on her luck and broke. So she decides to hit up her brother Ben and be like, can I come join you in Paris because my life sucks? And Ben's like, yeah, okay, come on over. So she goes over to Paris, but Ben's not there. And the apartment that Ben lives in is way too bougie for him to afford. So she decides that she wants answers. She can't find her brother. There's this building of eccentric people that are not weird, but aren't exactly the norm. So she decides to start looking for her brother, but she has no idea what she's going to find and if she will even find her brother Ben. This sounds like a mystery thriller with like a Paris twist, like a Parisian kind of atmosphere would be great in this book, and I just hope that it's done the way that I think it's going to be done in my head, and I cannot wait to get to this. And I also can't wait for the live show for the Literally Dead Book Club, because I feel like this is going to be a good discussion, I hope. The next 2 books I have here, also the last 2 books I have here, were ones that I found in a charity shop, and they were £1 each, and they're both hardcovers, and I'm not going to say no to that. Even if I am on a book buy and ban, I still have no self-restraint at all, so you know, I wasn't going to pass up the opportunity. So the first one is Platform 7 by Louise Doughty, I believe, and all I know about this book is that two strangers are on Platform 7 and they both lose their life, and we try to figure out what connects these two fatalities, because two deaths in 18 months on one platform doesn't seem like a coincidence. I don't know if it's suicide or if it's murder, but either way, I believe we follow the storyline of these two characters as they intertwine and we find out what they had in common and why they died on that specific platform. I think I heard this from Books and Lala first. I believe she read this and I believe she enjoyed it. I think she really did enjoy it. And I think that's why when I went into the charity shop and seen this for £1, I was like, okay, why not? It's also a hardcover, like £1. This is what ruins my book buying bans, because I can't say no to stuff like this. So do I feel bad about it? No, not at all. I got a hardcover book I'm interested in for £1. Do I need some more self-restraint? Yes, I do. But that's a whole other conversation. And the last book I have here is The Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, and I believe this follows a woman, Jessica, who enlists in this kind of trial. I believe it is seeking women aged 18 to 32 to participate in a study on ethics and morality, generous compensation, and anonymity guaranteed. And I believe she thinks she's going to go in, answer a few questions, and be done with it. But then the questions get more invasive, and the Dr. Shields that runs this project starts to request what she, well, request, would that be the right word? Like, starts to decide what she wears, how she acts, how she talks. And Jessica starts to worry if the doctor is in her head more than what she'd like and what's going to happen. Like, I don't want to know any more about this. I want to go into this just knowing that, because that sounds so interesting. Like, you sign up for this study and then all of a sudden this doctor's in your head and your personality just like ceases to exist essentially. And what happens like after that, I don't know. I will have to read this and find out, but it does sound good. And again, it was £1 for a hardcover of a book that I have heard of. I think I've heard more of The Wife Between Us, but again, like, it's a cover author duo that I recognize. I recognize the first book that is on here, so I picked it up and I have no regrets really. And that is it. That is all I have for you today. I don't know if you can see this stack, but I have hauled 11 books that I shouldn't have bought in the first place. But I am excited for every single one of these, so I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I'm just going to let live. And hopefully I will come back at you with some content with these books and tell you my thoughts as I read them. And hopefully I will come back either in June when I'm allowed to have a book haul, or when I hit 20 points on my TBR game. And I will actually have a book haul that is meant to be instead of one that shouldn't be, essentially. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so very much for watching. I do really appreciate you. Leave your name, your favourite book, whatever you want in the comments, and I will start a conversation with you, because I love to talk about books, as you might have guessed. If you're interested in any of these books, let me know down below which books you would be interested in reading. Again, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have I hope you have a great day, a great week, a great weekend whenever you are watching this, and remember to stay safe, happy and healthy, and I shall see you next time. Bye!